If you are someone who struggles to make small decisions, people probably think you are just indecisive. Maybe you're the person who takes 15 minutes to order at a restaurant, the one who scrolls through Netflix for an hour and still ends up rewatching the same show, the one who opens a food delivery app, looks at 40 different options, gets overwhelmed, and suddenly doesn't even feel hungry anymore. From the outside, it looks like a small thing, maybe even a little annoying. People assume you're overthinking something simple. But what most people do not understand is that difficulty making small decisions is usually not about the decision itself. It's about what the decision represents. Because for you, even tiny choices can feel strangely heavy. Choosing what to eat is not just choosing what to eat. It's worrying that you'll regret your choice 5 minutes later. Choosing what to watch is not just picking a movie. It's the pressure of not wanting to waste your evening on the wrong thing. And if you are someone who does this, you probably know exactly what that feels like. You narrow it down to 2 options, then start mentally testing both. You imagine ordering the pasta, but then you think maybe the burger would have been better. You start a show, but then spend the first 10 minutes wondering if there's something better you could have picked instead. What looks like indecision is often fear of regret, because somewhere along the way, your brain learned that making the wrong choice feels worse than making no choice at all. That is why you hesitate. That is why you delay. That is why you ask everyone else what they think, even when you already know what you want. You are not looking for information. You are looking for reassurance. And usually, this pattern starts long before adulthood. If you grew up in an environment where you were criticized a lot, corrected often, or made to feel like your choices were stupid, your brain may have learned that decisions are dangerous.
Maybe every time you picked something, somebody questioned it. Why would you order that? Why did you wear that? Why would you do it like that? Over time, you stop trusting yourself. Even when the decision is small, your nervous system still reacts like the stakes are high. It is not really about the restaurant menu anymore. It is about the old fear of being wrong. And that fear can quietly spread into every part of life. You might take forever replying to texts because you are trying to write the perfect response. You might spend hours researching products before buying something simple. You might open a menu, instantly know what you want, then change your mind 3 times because somebody else ordered something different.
You might even notice yourself asking questions you already know the answer to. Do you think I should get this? Which one would you choose? Should I watch this or this? Because when you do not trust your own judgment, every decision starts to feel like a test. And here is where it gets interesting. A lot of people think indecisive people are just lazy, passive, or scared of responsibility. But in reality, people who struggle with decisions are often the exact opposite. You are probably someone who thinks deeply. You notice details. You imagine consequences. You are aware of different outcomes. Your brain does not just see one option, it sees every option at the same time. That is the problem. Because while somebody else looks at a menu and thinks pizza sounds good, your brain immediately starts doing calculations. What if the pasta is better? What if I regret this? What if I waste my money? What if everyone else orders something that looks nicer? What if I'm still hungry after?
You are not bad at making decisions. You are too aware of possibilities, and sometimes that awareness becomes exhausting. Psychologists sometimes call this analysis paralysis. The more options you have, the harder it becomes to choose. And modern life gives you endless options. You are not choosing between 2 TV channels anymore. You are choosing between thousands of movies, shows, videos, podcasts, restaurants, clothes, careers, lifestyles, and identities. Your brain was not designed for this many possibilities. That is why you can spend 45 minutes on Netflix and still not pick anything. Because it is not just about watching a show. It's about wanting the perfect show for your exact mood. Something interesting enough to keep your attention, but not too serious, not too boring, not too long, not too emotional. And the more you search, the more impossible the decision becomes. Eventually, you get overwhelmed and either give up or go back to something familiar. That is why people who struggle with small decisions often end up eating the same meals, wearing the same clothes, rewatching the same shows, and sticking to routines. It is not because you were boring. It is because familiar things feel safe. You already know what to expect. There is no risk of regret. regret, no uncertainty, no chance of making the wrong choice. And if you are someone who does this, there's a good chance you also struggle with bigger decisions too.
Because the same pattern shows up everywhere. You might stay in relationships too long because you are afraid of making the wrong choice. You might delay applying for jobs because you cannot decide which path is best. You might keep waiting for certainty before making a move, even though certainty never fully comes. Because deep down, you may believe that there is always one perfect choice out there, and if you think hard enough, you will eventually find it. But that belief creates pressure, because if there is only one perfect option, then every wrong choice starts to feel like failure. And that is why even tiny decisions can become emotionally draining. But the real reason is not what most people think. It is not that you cannot make decisions. It is that you have attached too much meaning to them. You treat small choices like they define who you are. You think choosing the wrong movie means ruining your night. Choosing the wrong meal means wasting your money. Choosing the wrong text means embarrassing yourself. Choosing the wrong path means ruining your future. But most of the time, these choices are not as permanent as they feel. You can watch another movie tomorrow. You can order something different next time. You can send another text. You can change direction later. The pressure is usually coming from inside you, not from the decision itself. And if you are someone who struggles with this, you've probably noticed something else too. You are usually much better at making decisions for other people than for yourself. When a friend asks what they should do, the answer comes easily. You can see their situation clearly. You can tell them exactly what makes sense. But when it's your own life, everything becomes blurry.
Because when it is your decision, your emotions get involved, your fears get involved, your need to avoid regret gets involved. For other people, you trust logic. For yourself, you trust fear. And over time, that can make you feel disconnected from your own instincts. You stop listening to what you want because you are too focused on what could go wrong. You stop trusting your first choice because you assume your second choice must be smarter. You stop feeling confident in yourself because you are constantly questioning your own mind. But once you notice this pattern, you start to realize something important. Your difficulty with decisions was never random. It was not because you were weak, incapable, or bad at life. It was because somewhere along the way, your brain learned that being wrong was dangerous. So now, even small choices feel heavy. Even simple decisions feel loaded. Even everyday moments can feel like pressure. And once you understand that, you stop seeing yourself as indecisive. You start seeing yourself as someone who has been carrying too much pressure into things that were never supposed to feel this difficult, because it was never really about the Netflix show. It was never really about the restaurant menu. It was never really about which shirt to buy or which text to send. It was about fear, regret, pressure, control. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. It was never random. It was a pattern.